of our sides as they head into this clutch contest in the quarterfinals. First of all, with Mizzou, Crimson, Frostbites, and Exodia. Now, listen, these three, as I say, they've not dropped a series. They have dropped games, so not invincible, but they have only dropped one game per series, adding up to 3 across the entire season. They have not dropped more than 2 games in a single series. Therefore, simple maths will tell you, and that's going to be a tall mountain to climb for their opponents today. Not Oklahoma, not Oklahoma Academy, but Oklahoma City University. And they actually share something in common with Oklahoma over in Group B as we take a look at their roster now. Both of them, Gaogaen, made it into the top 4 by virtue of one game win differential over 5th.
It's fantastic that they've got that amongst each other, but they'll need to find another gear here. I believe you and I have seen this team on stream before, but for those unacquainted with the city of Oklahoma University, Nickel, Miracle, and Real Taterman taking to the pitch tonight in this series for the playoffs. Again, it's a single elimination bracket. This is the quarterfinals. It'll be a best of 5 for this particular series, and all indications would lean towards Mizzou to keep that undefeated streak alive, but Oklahoma City can do well by themselves, 4-2 in the regular season. Some tough losses early on to the Ottawa Braves, but maybe they can right that ship right here and right now. Series about to get underway.
Indeed, of course, the one thing going in Oklahoma City University's simply that we do not know how both groups stack up against each other. A 6-0 in one group could be mid-table in the other. And as we get kicked off here, Mizzou Esports in the blue, Oklahoma City University in the orange. I promise I'll try and find a better acronym for that than just spelling it out for you. They know that they have to be on their A game at the very least to strike some fear into their much more favored opponents.
For Mizzou, it only took 28 seconds, but all that pressure builds up all too quickly against Oklahoma City.
Day by day, I get more and more irate with the influence of Gen Z. Back in my day, Gaogaen, it was Exodia obliterate. Although not obliterated just yet are Oklahoma City University, or OCU, as I will try and call them from now on out. It's still very early in the game, and they're trying to wrestle possession away from Mizzou Esports, gain a little bit of real estate further upfield. Nickel, for example, going off this backboard. It's another backboard hit from Taterman, but that's way too easily read by the blue team. Able to break away. 2 fights is denied. The ball thrown away into midfield.
So I would say that you would call them OCU, Mizzou would call them OC Who, but then again, I feel like Ms. Who is right there, so you really don't have a whole lot of room to talk if you're going to try and make that insult. But Exodia, all they're going to try and do is find the goals, find all 5 cards of the Forbidden One, my goodness, and try and unlock this game early on. I mean, it's 1:10 gone. It's 2-0 to Mizzou. They want to run away with this one early.
Well, speaking of Who, there was a Doctor Who short released for children in need earlier today. Our first look in person at the 14th Doctor, and, well, they were in need of a goal, were OCU, and they've got that straight off the kickoff with Nickel.
Unfortunately, not going to get them 5 in one go, much like the currency, but they'll take it. Right off the kickoff, just kind of slips through everybody from Mizzou playing towards that left side. Simple as you like, and OCU on the board early here. Plenty more to go, however. I always ask this questions of games that start in this manner. Where do we get that stopping point? The defense is starting to clam up, get a bit more resistance going, or do we really just have this offensive onslaught of a game number 1 for the time being? Mizzou having some solid rotations there from the counter, but I don't know if you could say the same at the middle of the field. Everybody committed for that one.
That sure was a thing. that we all saw. And right down the other end, it's triple commit City, and they get a goal out of it. Frostbite ice cold.
They just keep on doing it, but hey, if it ain't broke, do not fix it. Crims didn't really have the rights to jump for that ball, but Exodia and Frostbite were linked up from the start, and it's clear that that's going to continue as this series progresses. So it's another thing that OCU have to shut down is that synergy that you see between Exodia and Frostbite, trying to lock that out, not allow them to set up passing lanes. Powerful shot to open things up, though, for OCU. Off the kickoff, again, it's where they like to generate a lot of their pressure, but what else can they do from the neutral state? That is where this game is going to be won.
Board initiative, we want to beat OCU. What will their next decision be for the triple committee? Moving forward, it's Exodia in support, looking for that challenge win, and wins the challenge, but only goes as far as the near post. Is Crims going up high? Oh, nice bump from Tater in the midfield. Gives them a little bit more space to work with. Miracle to nobody in particular except the blue team. Tater can't pounce upon the loose possession from Crims. Moves through the sidewall, challenge, Frostbite up. Whiffington City, Exodia, there's Crims, fly by. What on earth is this team doing? My goodness.
I can't read into it well enough. Almost a double there for Nickel, trying to get in between everybody, but Mizzou seems to just want to overwhelm in the most confusing way possible. Maybe if they are the only ones who truly know what the game plan is, then they'll be able to confuse OCU that much more, but it's a play style you don't see too often, and it tends to backfire more often than not. Mizzou look confident, though, pulling it off with these double and triple commits. It's all in the calculations, I suppose, but they've got to watch themselves. They push a bit too far forward too often, and OCU will have more than enough chances to equalize this game.
I'm real frustrated with OCU because there are so many shooting lanes, so many opportunities. Runaway ball, this should be put away, and yet it's not. To be fair to Crims, he gets there first and throws it somewhat downtown. I'm not going to say fully to the shops just yet. Tater setting up for a blue goal in the making. Miracle now. Got 100 boost to work with. Mizzou Esports can afford to buy time. If they find a fourth, then this is surely all she wrote for game number 1.
The time is not on their side for OCU. Neither is possession. Mizzou's been doing a solid job of, at the very least, presenting challenges, 50-50s whenever they can. And OCU's defensive response has been too slow to count. But Tater finally opens up some space. Now another challenge. It goes away. Crims takes the ball clean, but Frostbite gets in the way again. Another chance for OCU to jump right through, capitalize on that double commit, but it's played off the backboard well. Out through the corner now. Shot opportunity, but taken away by Exodia. And somehow Mizzou walk that one back the other way and grab a goal in a situation where you'd count OCU to have scored 3 in the same amount of time.
I can't tell if this is complacency or just bad rocket league. Because OCU have got to be looking around to themselves and wondering, how on earth have we not scored more than 1 goal? Mizzou Esports with so many errors stockpiled on top of each other, and yet they find themselves 4 goals up to the good.
It's a level of confidence you don't see too often at this level of play. But Mizzou Esports are here to make a statement early on. Don't want to waste everything in the tank here in the first game of the series, but you can write this one off in ink if you must. It feels that confident for Mizzou. OCU have to find another gear offensively and find it fast, because this performance has been less than convincing. Although they've had challenges, they've set shots on frame. Mizzou just get to try and walk it right on back, relatively resistance-free.
Shot again, too short, too sharp an angle. Infield, and Mizzou Esports swarming around. A second goal will look good for OCU, but they're not going to get it. Mizzou Esports all up on defense. Frostbite with the save. There's another shot from Tater, but Nickel wasn't there to receive. Taken out the play by the demo. 5.
If you get a double commit out of Mizzou, what are you going to do on the capitalization front then to try and get a better chance for yourself?
Well, Mastiff, one way to describe it, I think if I was to assign a word, I go reckless. Reckless play, and again, that falls on OCU to, you know, score. And they're flailing around. We see there 2 players, a double commit, amounting to nothing. Neither of them touched the ball. Of course, it's always a clean slate at the beginning of every game. For Mizzou Esports, if they're to lose from here, then my goodness, would that be an upset for the books?
There's a definite comfort level, though. You can tell. It feels like Mizzou are just waiting for OCU to chase this ball, almost as if they're inviting them in, you know, by making it look like they're making mistakes. It's nearly impossible to read into the exact mental game of the Mizzou players right now. But if I had to pick, it all feels calculated, which is scary because it doesn't look pristine, and yet you still get the sense that Mizzou know exactly what they're doing here.
I was going to say, the more this game goes on, the more this series goes on, it does feel complacency related. But That complacency's got to end. The jigsaw pieces finally put together. An equalizer.
It's a touch that you expect players to make. And yes, a shaky challenge at the end, but NECC was still there threatening the double. You have to have a fast response for that, and Mizzou do, but it's not the response they needed. We've got a tie game early on. Kickoffs have been, strong at times for OCU. They get another clear back into the zone to kick things off, and again, two players very close. Crim's the only one back, but that's the key challenge right there. The third defender in line for Mizzou feels no pain, does not waver in their resolve to clear the ball, and that's the difference. It's not allowing OCU to set up their offensive shot.
Who's got the painkillers ready? Because whichever team manages to find them and spread them out and give each other a little bit of numbing feeling, just a sense of calm, might well be the one that goes on to win this series irrespective. I was real worried for OCU after that first Mizzou goal, but you know what? They have settled down ever so slightly. Mizzou Esports still overcommitting multiple times over on plays which they simply don't have to. They're spending a little bit of time now in the orange half. Exodia taking out Miracles, so those escape trajectories very much limited. That's great work from NECC. Definitely lifting the responsibility of the team onto his back.
You can see, though, again, how aggressive Crims is to get into the sequence. Now back, it's a miss, but it almost doesn't matter. A screen is set. NECC finds a way through, and a bump onto Exodia. And again, so much feels like you're just adding points to this OCU defense to get the clear. They've got enough saved up in the bank, and yet they're still being gifted some from Mizzou. But against all odds, against all hope, it's still the side in blue that are getting the better of the scoring chances. We go back the other way. Solid flick there from NECC, and it's the first lead of the series for OCU.
Man Mountain made a huge save just 30 seconds earlier. Traveled the entire length of the pitch. Exodia not fast enough to deny NECC from that lift into the net. Just past half time. Still plenty of it left for Mizzou to find an equalizer now for themselves. Survival of the fittest, or survival of the fakes. Oh my goodness, Taterman on a plate.
You already had the strong kickoff and then completely slow rolling everyone. All of a sudden, the tables, Reliq, I can feel them turning bit by bit. OCU that much closer to getting back in this series.
Get that jacket because you've been left in the cold, sauteed, roasted. Taterman with a third goal, such an important one for OCU. That 2-goal margin still precarious in my books, but far, far safer than the situation just moments ago. And downfield, Frostbite's got to get to this one, makes a save.
It's an important step here for Mizzou to take in this series. Now they're being forced to get to the ball rather than always presenting those challenges. They've got to carve them out for themselves. You really start to question where this team's head is at offensively. Another double doesn't work out. It's Exodia back alone, makes an early challenge. That's the right play. Now it's forced into a very neutral side, but Crims misses and Frostbite again beat over the top. It's these sequences back and forth where two Mizzou players are beat in the same small stretch that really make it difficult to see a way through for them.
Mizzou's so frustrated every time they break out. They're desperately looking to make something happen. Slow down solo players that allow OCU to move back into defensive positions, which also enable those counter-attacking opportunities. A miss there, a miss here. Mizzou Esports living up to at least half of their name. 60 seconds left on the clock now. A goal's going to come sooner or later, otherwise we're talking about tie series.
Another challenge on the side wall, set to the back. Frostbite stretching for the touch and makes it. Exodia with a breakout chance. Flip reset used early to waterfall. Frostbite misses. Crims picks it up at a bottom corner. Double commit save for OCU. Keeps them up by 2. 40 seconds to play. Another center ball goes helpless, however, as Crims needs some boost. Big challenge from Miracle here. Frostbite touches to the sidewall, but it's all starting to fall by the wayside as OCU get another shake at it inside of 30 seconds to go. They almost make it 4.
Exodia pulling out some dark magician tricks to rescue that one out from the net, and does basically a little bit of what we saw earlier from NECC from one side of the pitch down right to the other end. Miracle with a front flip. Exodia over the top, sees the committal. Ka-chow indeed. barnstormer finish.
Talked at length so much about beating 2 players in one go, but it's a big problem if your third is out of the sequence. Big clear, 15 seconds now, and Mizzou, 1 golden chance to send us to OT, but it's gonna be a long ways away, especially if you find yourself down 2. It's a simple clear, it's a hat trick for Nickel, and it's a 4th for OCU.
And look, there's not much that Exodia could have done more there. Gets a decent clearance out to the midfield. It's more on his teammates to recognize that the read was there and that could potentially be heading on target. I am so full of praise for this team playing in orange right now. This is the sort of OCU performance that I was expecting more of from game number 1. Just took a little bit of time in the oven, Gaogaen. Oh, smells good now that they're out of it.
Really is a fantastic sight to see. 1 game apiece as we head to the third.
Favorites once again, or are they? They've allowed OCU to gain confidence, to walk themselves into this tournament bracket, and if there's anything that we've learned about league form against tournament form is that you can never count on one to inform you of the other.
That's exactly right, though, because again, if you tell me, right, that Mizzou have dropped 1 game in half of the series that they played in the regular season, I'd expect that trend to come close to continuing in the playoffs. So you've got to give credit where credit is due, but Mizzou know that they have an undefeated record to protect. And in the playoffs, it does not matter how you did in the regular season. You got to play on the night of. Right now, Mizzou looking to deliver.
It's a nice bit of placement from Exodia as well, forcing the defense into a stretch too far for them, and an early goal just to settle down the team in blue. That is a giveaway. Thankfully for Tater, Miracle was in net to provide just one of those. Crims pickpocketed and forced back into their own half are Mizzou Esports. Exodia with the pop-up really to no one in particular. OCU now taking up possession. It's Miracle. Nickel with a turnaround, bumped out the way. Crims on his bike, looking to the far side of the field, looking for Frostbite. Doesn't reach it in time.
Challenge here. Exodia picks the ball clean. Out through the corner, back and forth we go. Mizzou looking for control now, as opposed to the quick clears they were searching for just 20 seconds earlier. Frostbite challenge, not quite enough power. Exodia grabs the boost. Crim's not willing to jump for that ball just yet, and they've given a whole load of allowance here to OCU to allow for the counter, but a beautiful second jump on that one. Crims misses, everybody's missing. It all falls apart for Mizzou. Solid scoring chance with the defender stuck on the near post, but they can't convert.
What a mistaker to make her. Miracle. Well, gave it to Tater, who paid for that clearance with their life momentarily, of course. Over to the far side of the pitch. Nickel, oh, Miracle doesn't read that well at all. Frostbite intercepts. Tater. No boost, missed out on the 100. Leaves it to Nickel. If anyone's going to make the difference, it will be them. And might they just make it here through the challenge? No, but the follow-up is most certainly going to do the damage. 1-1.
It's a real difference maker in this series, though, that we're seeing OCU take advantage of the situations where Mizzou overstepped their boundaries. They're trying to make these early jumps, the players of Mizzou, to challenge the ball, make it an awkward touch for OCU to take, and not allow them to get the passing lanes they want. But that, again, starts to backfire. If you send yourself too early to the sequence defensively, you thin out the numbers, boost players everything-wise to make the save on the follow-up. OCU are now starting to get that picture painted well in their heads that they can take that second or third shot, and Mizzou may not be ready for that follow-through.
Second game in a row, just needed time to warm up. OCU. Have Mizzou missed the train? Have they missed their chance to plow into an unassailable lead? Miracle, that's lovely deployment to the right-hand side, and it's on target from Nickel. Not what they intended, I'm sure.
But still, a great run from Miracle to the goal line immediately after making that pass. It doesn't do a whole lot because the majority of bumping and confusion is between the Mizzou players themselves, but just the thought and the foresight to do something like that as the lead attacker is what gives you that much higher of a chance to score on an opportunity like that. Exodia, beautiful shot. Nickel, a fantastic save, and look at OCU back the other way immediately with a 1-2 to the back wall.
That's one of those rare occasions where sitting further back from the goal line has actually really aided Nickel. Exodia, if they placed it anywhere else, probably guaranteed a goal straight at the keeper, but the keeper still had to make the save from far back. That's another one on target. Crims with the save, Nickel credited with the shot, up and away from the aforementioned player. Miracle takes over, prioritizes the boost over the ball, up high to try and challenge Exodia. No chance with that trajectory. Back down into the midfield, but Crims on target! 2-2!
They throw it right back at OCU. Another goal line run. It's off of Exodia going high. The touch goes low. That quick change in direction is too much for Tater to handle with Frostbite in their face. 2 apiece. 1:41 to play. This feels like the most crucial moment of this series we will witness thus far.
It always has to be game 3. The hump that breaks the camel's back, so to speak. No backbreaker performances from anyone individually as of yet. I guess maybe you could assign that to Nickel, but there's still a ways to go before this game 3 is complete.
Exodia with a carry over the top. All of a sudden it's clear air. Blake, and you miss it. The defense of OCU not quite set. They had too much faith in that clear, but the miracle was not to be found. And oh dear, looked like close contact with Exodia, but it won't count for anything other than a Mizzou goal.
Yeah, Miracle caught upfield, but ultimately the responsibility didn't lie with them. Very much on the shoulders of Nickel yet again, but one man can only do so much. And eventually a mistake was going to creep into his own system. Strong response straight off the kickoff. Back in field, miss, gonna be put home, and it's not. Frostbite registers a save somewhat inadvertently, and here he is now with a musty flick clearance over the top to Crims. It's on target anyway. Nickel into the save.
Great counter chance here for Nickel. Flip reset, maybe didn't have it. Takes it down low anyway. Miracle with a demo onto Exodia, but Frostbite still getting the push going. Miracle out to Nickel. That's a solid pass to the side. Nickel immediately puts it back center, but Frostbite with a block. Everybody from Mizzou is stacked up in that corner. Miracle wants to take advantage, but is forced to play it high to start. Not a great spot to jump from, but Nickel wins the challenge anyway. Gets it center down, but nobody there to take the shot. It'll have to be one last chance.
Great pick, Cooks here, to clear some space, but it's back into Orange possession, and they're on the hunt for more. Nickel sees Tater in field, keeps it close to the chest, intercepted, tackled. Miracle into no man's land with no boost and no hope. They've got to pull out for now. Nickel for that backboard. Everybody throws themselves at it. Everybody misses. That'll suit Mizzou Esports. Opportunities to actually go for those shooting opportunities in the first place, because that OCU defense, it's good. It's not fantastic, and they're going to have to rely on their offensive output now, I think, if they want to get themselves into a Game 5 position. That's exactly what they've done through Tater in the first 10.
It's a great response from OCU right off the rip here in game number 4. The kickoffs have always looked like above decent, I'd say, for OCU.
Yeah.
Like they haven't all resulted in scoring chances, but they've had some very solid pressure immediately off that opening sequence. If they can continue that, obviously you need to see the neutral play continue to flourish if OCU want to win this series. But as long as they've got kickoffs in their pocket, that's one way to kind of tilt the seesaw further.
For sure, even when they quote-unquote lose the kickoffs, they follow up with a strong challenge, and more often than not results in a bit of pressure, at least for Mizzou Esports to consider for the short term. Here's Tater, certainly focused on defense for now on Mizzou Esports. Miracle, easily read, easily challenged. A lot of real estate gained by Exodia, picks up the 100 boost on the way through as well, although this is good from Nickel, forcing them back, taken out by Exodia. Tater runs into 2 players on that backboard. Miracle now, another backboard hit, but has to rotate out, much like his teammates before him.
Again, though, OCU doing a solid job of realizing how close the Mizzou players play to each other and trying to use that to their advantage. But it's all about how these teams are going to stack up on either side. Plenty of chances have come quickly here. Nickel, happy to play that one from the center. It's set up well for Tater to take a challenge, and that's a strong one at that. But a double demo leaves Frostbite alone with the ball back the other way, completely nullifying the advantage OCU would have grabbed, as now everybody else from Mizzou has a prime defensive stance.
Frostbite. Now, Miracle saw that coming. But still the forward momentum favoring Mizzou. Exodia. And that's down to Miracle. Navigates his way past one. On the attack, 25 boost infield. That's a lovely pass! And it's poached by Nickel!
Oh my goodness. I want to watch this one back. Got a whole lot of momentum from something. Seems like the collision with the defender in the corner. But it works. Nickel was ready and waiting at the top of the box. It was a beautiful run that you see with the defender in hand, but it did not matter. A 2-0 lead immediately brought... Oh, never mind, Tater. Huge pull from the top corner.
Big save, clutch save. Crims, flip reset, lovely lift, and oh, it should be home from Frostbite. Misses the target, and Nickel now with a runaway over to Tater. That's a lovely interception. Challenge at Crims. Oh, I thought it was going to be saved by Miracle, but it always favored Crims with that front bumper doing the heavy lifting.
It may have been later on in the time elapsed. But going to the weight room, Crims wins out on that challenge ever so slightly, and that's all it takes. Finally, Mizzou find their first of the game. Plenty of time, just over half of it left to find another, and they may have just gotten a free gift, but Nickel was waiting on the goal line. Now look at the counter. Tater with a double chance, denied by Crims. Back out to the midfield line where Miracle is waiting. Low boost, but no problem. Exodia, however, gets another clear as Mizzou look for that passing lane, but they're not quite getting it just yet.
There's Nickel. Second touch, he spends a lot of boost, all the boost. Buys a lot of time at that as well. OCU, press, destroyed by Crims. And Nickel had to navigate his way around the respawning teammate. Oh, Calamity in the air. That's a chance, and Tater whips it. What about Miracle on target? But the two players is enough. Tater flapping around like a magic carp in the ocean.
They're trying to just stop Mizzou from getting this clear. They're so discombobulated themselves. Exodia with a touch on the sidewall. It's a giveaway to Miracle, but there's no help. Demo to He goes Tater. That was the shot. But Frostbite with a good demo now has to make a save aside as Exodia stacked up in the corner. Somebody's got to decide who's going, who's staying. They do. Crims with a double chance. Doesn't connect. Exodia picks up the pieces, but is sent away by Nickel there. Carry through the corner. Time ticking down. Mizzou trying to deny a Game 5 trip, but it's all in their own hands here as Crims goes far side. Big challenge, but Nickel pulls it away.
Clown contest over. The only thing that'll be funny now and putting smiles on faces is that all-important win. The Mizzou Esports, no smiles here. Still down by what? 60 seconds left. Game 5 awaits if they don't find a response. And Exodia has to lift this up away like the summoned skull, willing a lightning strike from one of his teammates down the other end of the pitch so that he doesn't have to do any of this more defensive work. Again, forced into the press, loses out. And as our Mizzou Esports with 40 seconds remaining.
Everyone was on the run to start this sequence. Tater waiting. Second shot. It's saved by Nickel. Third shot. Crims 1, 2, 3. It takes all of Mizzou to find a goal, but all that matters is they've tied it with 35 to play.
The big mistake is Tater. Why pre-jump? Why pre-jump? You've got the boost to react. You've got the time to react. And yet puts his teammates in a horrible position, in an equalizing position for Mizzou Esports. And now the wave, the tides are behind them. Backboard, Exodia wins the challenge, but that's thrown away by OCU, who will be happy to see OT.
It's a big problem, though. Mizzou are still relevant. Exodia shouldn't have been allowed to win that challenge in the first place, and now they're building up the pressure. Double off the back wall. Frostbite takes a shot. It's into the bar. You had the demo and a Miracle. That had to be the chance, but Exodia once more. Quick flip reset, trying to send it far side, and does, but it'll get cleared one last time. Do they play for OT? They may not have a choice, but it goes off the ceiling and right into the hands of Frostbite. Now sent midfield again. Exodia back wall, trying to pick it off before it gets there, and they don't. But it was okay. The shot was not there. Extra time, game 4.
Third man just a little bit too far behind. OCU, I said they were going to be happy to see OT because, again, they've ruled these kickoffs and they're camped in the blue Arthur now, but that is a real secretive touch from Exodia. But here's Nickel on target, Crims the save, up and away. Big bump on Miracle, down the other end. Tater, Crims challenges, neutral, favors Exodia, who's onto the scene, heads that to the backboard. Nickel with a save registered, Crims right back into the center, Frostbite up, and Tater with a big save for himself now.
You can see how fast Mizzou are moving towards these challenges, but they've got to be careful to hit the ball when they need to. Crims off the sidewall, big demo on a Miracle, it's center, it's 2-0, Crims with the dagger of the series. Mizzou Esports, they win in the quarterfinals. It's another 3-1 result against all the trials and tribulations and question marks that we had posed to them. The answer, Mizzou Esports, series win.
And they maintain that record, Gaogaen. They still have failed to drop more than 2 games. To be fair, they weren't expected to drop any games in this one, so credit to OCU. But you could tell that as much as they